Good evening, everybody. Welcome back again to yet another evening of Fumbles and Fame plays Dungeons and Dragons. Tonight, our adventurers, currently three of them, will continue their journey in the world of Erova, a homebrew world written and made by me. I am the DM of the night, Dungeon Master Kayshin or Dungeon Master Ken. So thanks for tuning in. So they will be traveling further in the world of Erova, finding out what elemental troubles are at hand, and seeing if they can hopefully find out what's wrong and maybe even fix it at some point.
Maybe. If the
That'll
pay's right.
is a bit of a futuristic event for that. So I'm quiet. I hope this might be better. And this should be better as well. I hope this is better for my sound. Let me hear from chat if I get a confirmation on that. Okay, perfect. So, before we do anything considering the game tonight, first a few important things we have to get by. First of all, we are Fumbles and Fame, a Discord community existing for almost close to a year now. We have a lot of fun people interested in everything that has to do with tabletop, role-playing. We play Dungeons and Dragons, we play Dungeons and Dragons Online, we play all kinds of different games, stream quite a lot of them, also have just regular fun chat about this game and other role-playing experiences and day-to-day fun stuff we encounter on our Discord channels. So be sure to join us there if you're not already on there. Also, we at Fumbles and Fame are not affiliated with, endorsed, or sponsored by Reserve the Code LLC. So we have nothing to do with them, but we're really happy that we are allowed to play this awesome content on a stream like this, of course, especially with the people that I've found so far. Also, we have a little giveaway going on, and I'll give the word to Sam. Character and player interaction will come afterwards. First, the important stuff. I'll give the word to you for a little bit of an explanation on that part. Go ahead.
Yeah, so we're currently taking part in a little giveaway that we've got because of the guys over at Mage Hand Press, who you might know as Middle Finger of Vecna. They make a lot of homebrew content for Dungeons & Dragons, really well-polished stuff. And lately they've decided to push the boat out even further, and they've actually gone and created an entire science fiction supplement for Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition. And it basically allows you to play out all your different sci-fi tropes and fantasies and all the different kind of characters you want to do, just using the basic Dungeons & Dragons 5e system, building on top of what's already there. You can use all the same races and everything, put it into a sci-fi universe. We had the pleasure of actually playtesting a little bit of this content very, very recently. On Wednesday, I actually DM'd a one-shot and where we used the dark matter material. Ken was one of my players, and we had an absolute blast. We had a great time with it. It's up there on the past broadcast if you want to check it out and find out what we're talking about. But the long story short is the guys over at Mage Hand Press have been kind enough to actually give us 10 copies of the Racers PDF that they're currently building upon. And this simply, it's got about 7, I think, off the top of my head, different sci-fi races that they've built specifically for this universe. And when I say built, there's stat blocks, there's lore, there's artwork. It looks brilliant. They've got 10 copies of this to give away, and we're offering them out to you guys. All we need you to do is, if you're a Fumbles and Fame member, either get in touch with me or put your Fumbles and Fame tag up in the Twitch chat for us. If you're not a Fumbles and Fame member, you can also enter. If you go on the Fumbles and Fame Twitter, there's a tweet that's just gone live about this game. Retweet that, we'll add you to the list. Dead simple. The guys from Dark Matter, they are having a Kickstarter to try and get this published, and it ends on Sunday. So we're going to run the giveaway up until Sunday, so you'll see it mentioned in tonight's game, and you'll see it mentioned in tomorrow's game on Curse of Strahd. But yeah, if you want to get involved in it, if you want to donate to the Kickstarter, if you may be a bit intrigued about what it all is, after this game is done, by all means jump on the past broadcasts, have a look at the one-shot that we did for Wednesday night. It was really, really good fun. I mean, these guys have got Starship combat rules and all sorts of different things. We had a blast with it. No hyperbole. It was one of the most fun times I've had playing D&D in a long time. But I'm a Star Wars nut. I got to live out a world of my fantasies. It was great. So yeah, if you want the giveaway again, if you're a Fumbles and Fame member, just pop your name in the chat. or get in touch with me directly on the server. I'm Sanctified. I'm sure you all see me about. If you're not a Fumbles and Fame member, just hop on the Twitter channel for us. Just retweet the tweet that's just gone live about this very stream. That's all there is to it. And we've got 10 copies to give away.
Okay, so let's zip back a few tens of thousand years into a
Something like
fantasy
that.
in a fantasy setting
Let's dial it back.
yeah, where we're currently set. First of all, I think we've done all the most important stuff. Besides the XP system, of course. While watching the stream, you earn XP by just watching us. Also, if natural 20s get thrown about, people get more additional XP, bonus XP from the stream. And you can spend this XP to interact with the stream. There's a little box on the stream itself from Streamlabs. Click that. And you can redeem your points there to give advantages, disadvantages to the players, to the DM, and to give all kinds of other fun stuff to the people. Also, you could potentially save a bit up for potential future goodies. So keep watching. Then on to my players. First of all, again, I'm DM Kayshin. I'll go on my screen from my left and then in a circle. So just introduce yourself, a short introduction of your character, because the further introduction will be done as soon as we jump into game. So first up, Justin.
Hi, I'm Justin. I manage the Twitter for Mage Hand Press, actually, and I'm playing Barrick. He is a shaman who uses the Blood Hunter class from Critical Role to represent his shamanistic abilities.
Next up, we have Tahina.
Hey everyone, I'm Tahina. You might know me from our Tomb of Annihilation and the Curse of Strahd stream. I play Illyria Klasumtal of the Noble House of Dormant, also called the Lady Storm Song, a high elf ranger.
And then for today, last but not least, we have Sam.
Indeed you do, and I'm playing Lorenzo, who is a half-elf swashbuckling rogue, but generally tends to be motivated by money and very little else so far that it seems.
So it seems.
So it seems.
Last time we found the party, they were just arrived at the Dread Isle. More precisely, not on the Dread Isle itself, but on what's the name?
Uberdun.
Uberdun, yes, Uberdun, the dwarven and fortress that's just to the side of this island, a little bit high up against a mountain/hill. On which the dwarves have a really good oversight over a beach, and furthermore the Dread Isle itself, which is a island that you can see from this big fortress. If you look outside of the windows, it's more of there's a land tongue moving towards a island. The island itself looks like it could be a small city, maybe, at least from the size of it and from the look of it. And from where you are right now, looking outside of the windows from the fortress, where you've gotten a room to spend a few nights in before finding out what you are further intending to do, you see a few big buildings in the wrecked city itself. And it seems that you've all seen like images that people drew or stories about ruins of stuff that has been taken by time. And one thing that's very clear about the wreck that's in front of you and the buildings that you see in the distance is that it's not necessarily wrecked in time. That's added onto it later on. It seems to be that from a certain point within the city, some giant force had been thrown out to the sides of the city, basically ripping bigger holes and the buildings closer to this origin of this power all the way down to their foundations, while the buildings on the sides and the edges of the island itself stand a little bit taller and higher. Like there was a big explosion or force coming from a point on the island itself. And that was apparently the cataclysmic event that wrecked the island itself. You can also see from this distance at specific certain spots, not random spots on the island itself, you might see a little bit of a spark of lightning protruding behind a really distant window, or a standing piece of wall, or a flash of light in purple, blue, and red, or sometimes you even have the idea that a giant splash of water just from above the city itself starts falling down like a really localized rain storm that's just gone instantly. So there seems to be really magical, strange effects going on in the city as well. One of the big features in the city seems to be a tower that's actually, even though it's quite quote unquote close to the source of the big force, it still seems to be in quite semi good order. It still seems to be standing to most of its fullest length, even though it might be a bit crooked, and there might be like partway there are a few holes in the sides of the tower, like there's almost a bite taken off it, out of it, you know. Um, you also see a few other bigger buildings standing there. Most The one that also stands out is one that, as you've been asking around already with the dwarves that you're at, was apparently the big college, the big maybe school that people, so shamans as well as sorcerers with elemental forces and wizards interested in these elemental forces could come study and then go continue further studies on the island itself. Because it was a big research facility slash training facility for everything that had to do with elemental magic and everything concerning elemental magic. So this is where the party now finds themselves in a nice little comfortable barrack, so barracks in a barrack. In a comfortable barrack with a few bunk beds, where you've gotten the chance to get a few nights rests. So at the end of last session, you guys were told you were going up to level 3 from your level 2 that we were before. I also asked each and every one of you to, because I as a DM feel that the transition towards your subclass is like your last step, besides the further leveling up, is your last step to becoming the thing you're intending to be, you know? It's the beginning of it's the end of one thing and the
It's
start
kind of a coming of age.
Yeah, exactly. A coming of age.
Rite of passage.
A rite of passage. So each and every one of you, I've asked to prepare something. It could be like as simple as, well, I feel fine right now, and the next day I feel better. Could be just enough for me. But if you have something prepared, then I'd like to hear it. So I'll just go in the opposite order than we just did before. So basically, you've had a few weeks on the ship traveling towards this place, as well as a few days with the dwarves. You've had the entire experience of the ritual of the dead and the celebration afterwards that the dwarves had. So anywhere in between this time, you could have had your moment to become your level 3. So Sam, go right ahead.
So Lorenzo, at some point throughout the voyage, will have gotten into a duel with one of the other sailors voluntarily. It's just more of a sparring thing than anything else to keep his practice in.
Mm-hmm.
And in doing so, he'll have been using his rapier in a very sort of fencing stance almost. And much of the combat will have been different from what you guys have seen of him before. It will have been involved a lot more footwork. There's a lot more putting his opponent off balance and using his own weight against him, dodging out of range of his attacks before they can even sort of materialize. You know, most of these actions would normally earn somebody a good smack upside the head with the training swords. But Lorenzo seems to have an almost uncanny precision to predict where they're coming and avoid them. And as the duel goes on, he gets through not one but two sailors with barely a scratch and kind of comes to an end, sweating. He's bare-chested in the blazing sun aboard this vessel. But he comes to an end glistening with sweat, looking very satisfied with himself, loose strands of his greased hair and his ponytail flying across his face. And as he finishes the last one and they come to the end of the duel, he puts the rapier away and with a very satisfied smile shakes hands with his opponent. For anybody watching, you'll just hear him mutter to himself, "This is far more like it." I have been away from the sea far too long. The battle aboard the ship and the waves, I have missed it so. I've almost forgotten these techniques.
So for you, it's more of a rediscovery with the other sailors on the ship. This is their kind of fighting that they do, because if they ever done some kind of fighting, there's also a few like mercenaries on here that fight on the ships around here. So it's like a coming home again. It's a
Exactly.
reignition of the skills you've learned in the past that just come out again,
Hasn't
and
had
you
the
just
opportunity to use for quite some time.
yeah, and you just feel right at home with your rapier, like it's an extension of your body itself. You just feel if the tip only even slightly braces something, you'll just feel it in your left toe. That's a kind of
Very specifically the left toe.
yeah, but yeah, you have an uncanny handling of the weapon back, and especially you also notice after the last bit of fighting you've done outside of the ships. A part of that experience helped you also improve of what you've done, and you feel like you reached a new level, a new goal in your combat techniques and your and what you find interesting
In recent history, Lorenzo's done a lot more showmanship with his sword than he has done actual combat. So yeah, this has kind of brought it all back and reawakened it, as you say. Kind of reminded him of what the blade's actually used for.
Okay. Thank you. So that's Lorenzo's transition to third level, to a swashbuckler rogue.
Indeed.
Okay, and a swashbuckler specifically is able to do sneak attacks on targets that he doesn't have the normal sneak attack rules to, I guess, right?
Kind of, yeah. It just works that you have advantage on your attacks, which allows for the sneak attack as long as nobody else is around. So it works around a dueling system almost.
Yeah. Okay. Then next up, Illyria.
Yes. Illyria. Well, the last 2 weeks on ship, she spent pleasantly distracted, I'd say. But fortunately, if you are high elf, you don't do what the lesser races do. You don't sleep. Who sleeps? You sit there in trance for a few hours. And every time she does this, and while Barak is Barak is sleeping, she's sitting there and meditating over the rod of divination that she found after her birthday party has been crashed by an Aether and magma methods suddenly dropping out of the elemental plane of fire. And she has been so curious about those elements and the planes that she heard about. And she's still trying to figure out more about this rod. When she holds it, she feels this pull in several directions, not as strongly as Barash or her aunt did, but she does feel a pull. And so she's sitting there meditating, and the iron stone of awareness, this brightly blue-colored stone, is floating around her head as she's concentrating. And she does this every morning, and when she gets up, she is practicing her archery. Maybe not so much on the ship, but especially then when they reach the Isle of Dread. And so one fine morning, maybe the first morning after that, after the funerary
After the day after the party,
that
basically.
rites, yes, after the party.
Yeah.
She is standing in some courtyard or garden or some archery range.
They definitely have an archery range here. Yeah.
And she has her finely wrought elven longbow, and the rod is sheathed in at her belt. And she is just doing her morning routine, going through her training, and she has basically put an arrow on, and as she's exhaled, she lets loose and hits her target. And in this moment of perfect clarity, where everything falls in the perfect spot for a ranger, for an archer, when you pull the bow just right, when you feel the way the string is tense and let loose, there is suddenly this awareness flooding her senses. The way she feels when she holds the divination rod and can feel the pull of the breaches to the elemental planes. And there is this split-second awareness of elemental magic and planar shift, basically, as she
Yeah,
connects
especially so
to that
close to this
force.
island as well.
Oh yeah, this island has been wrecked by elemental
Yeah,
magic.
you feel a pull from this island itself as
Yeah.
well.
And she has been in so close connection to people who are even more closely connected to the magics than she is. I mean, there is an Earth Genasi in her very close proximity, and we have a Dragonborn who's playing with fire and the Aether. And to her great surprise, in the moment when she let loose that last arrow, it suddenly flares brightly with force energy, and as it hits the target, it basically explodes with this shower of force and annihilates that.
Also, when this happens, you see a sort of a shimmer in the air, a similar shimmer that you saw when the methods and the Aether previously, so to say, entered this plane, this place of existence. You see the same kind of shimmer happening, and a strong pull towards this shimmer as it then disappears. And there was an explosion. Your arrow is gone, though.
Yeah. Okay. And I stand up puzzling, holding my bow at ready, and and then, of course, because no one is as logical as high elves, trial and error, I try it again. If I can repeat use that that result. And after a few cases of trial and error, I can find this moment of clarity again, and it works.
The other times, though, your arrows just explode. They don't disappear.
Oh, okay.
But
And I'm
first,
also going to draw my scimitars, and I'm going for some plate dance katanas, and I'm also trying to, if I can, reach the same energy into the plates, and yeah. So this is my reaching my Horizon Walker archetype, this feeling around, casting out my senses to feel the planar shift around me, and trying to draw that energy and use it in the fight against whatever it is that is coming.
okay. So that's your step towards becoming your Horizon Walker.
Yeah.
And Horizon Walker, what does he do a bit?
Well,
some
this
simple
Horizon
thing?
Walker, yeah, they do get detect portal. They have this. It's similar like primal awareness. They can cast out their senses, and for 1 mile around them, they can feel if there's a portal to another plane. And they can also, as planar warriors, imbue. They can basically select a target as bonus action and imbue their weapons with force damage. So when they attack, they, instead of doing just bludgeoning or slashing damage, they do force damage, and they deal an additional 1d8 force damage on top of that.
So you use the powers of the disturbances in the planes themselves to damage your opponents.
Exactly.
Okay. Next up, Justin, Barrack.
All right. So at some point after the dwarven mourning ceremony, Beric would have found a quiet, secluded place for him to meditate. He would have placed some candles around himself, sitting cross-legged, having his eyes closed, mixing some various herbs and other reagents, and just breathing in the smoke that is produced. And this will awaken his awareness to the realm between realms, where he sometimes visits his now deceased mentor.
And you find your now deceased mentor.
Okay. So the areas surrounding Beric when he opens his eyes is just this huge, long plane of just like infiniteness. The sky is purple and red, and the ground is just a deep, earthy brown. with no grass around. And when he opens his eyes, his mentor, an elf, fairly old, even by elven standards, is standing in front of him. And he would say, "Hello, master. It's been some time." And I was under the impression you would be playing him, Ken?
I could.
Yes.
Yeah, sure. My son, I see you have come quite a while and a way to get where you are right now.
Yes, I'm traveling to the Isle of Dread to collect new and learn new things. Knowledge that's been lost for some time.
This place is definitely one to start your search. Continue there and make sure you protect those around you as well. I see your connection to newfound people. Make sure you treat them the same as you would treat those you originate from.
Of course. I'm fond of them. I desire the strength to protect them.
Just for my information, what was your subclass going to be again?
It is going to be the Order of Profane Soul, which is essentially a warlock quartercaster subclass for the Blood Hunter class. For my patron, I'm picking the Celestial Pact.
Your master, he walks up to you, places his hand upon your shoulder, and puts you down on one knee because you stood up to face him. You bend your head, and you you see a sort of a not necessarily flash of light, because that's not something that you would expect in a place like this, but a shift of light maybe. And when you look up, you'll see that you're not any longer on the brown of the earth, but you are on what seems to be a endless space of nothingness, drifting on a big giant rock. If you look at it, it's a little big gray dark rock, and just floating into what seems to be nothingness. As suddenly you feel the same warmth that you felt sometimes when your mentor was doing certain incantations and rituals by himself, coming through your body and your veins themselves, as you almost feel, well, not necessarily enlightened again, but shifted from where you once were to a new maybe
Deeper knowledge.
Sorry?
Deeper knowledge.
Yeah, exactly. Like the things around you come in a different way. Your senses almost feel stuff differently. Like almost like you're smelling with your mouth and listening with your nose. You're experiencing everything with all your senses right now. After which you fall back into a blackness itself, and you wake up next to a few candles.
Excellent.
Don't do drugs, kids. Stay in school.
Okay.
There's also a big thick smoke in this room that you made with these herbs and other stuff you made, almost to like hotbox this place out to get you in this state. And yeah, you also feel the same connection you felt within this dark, vast emptiness. You still feel in the tugging in the back of your head and the back of your being.
Okay. I'm going to look at my hand, and some energy will flare up within it, and as cold and electric energy light up in his hand before he closes it and dismisses it.
All right.
And that'll be it.
Okay. So, you guys, as a party, obviously a lot has happened. Maybe there's a moment needed of some reconsideration, of some planning, of some questions you might have towards each other or towards others. So that's a chance you're gonna get now. So you're sitting here with each other, just all having some kind of transition from what you once were to what you are now. And yeah, it's a possibility to catch up, ask questions, and yeah, go right ahead.
Anyone want to start?
Well, I imagine this would take place after the morning after. I would assume the dwarves have had their morning party, the
Yeah,
wake.
I'd say
Guess.
you've taken a few days at this place after your travel on the ship, and maybe you've already had a few chats with each other, but this is the first moment where you all sit down together in a proper way.
Well, Lorenzo will approach his employer and just casually remark, I think it is about time we made our way further into the Isle and finally got a hold of a dwarf that can tell us something of use.
You did got a hold of someone?
I think it is about time we found a dwarf that can
Yes.
be used. Not that I'm complaining about being paid to stay here and little, but you know.
Yes, I do agree. We should travel inland and find out what is going on. You see that she's now and then looking over her shoulder as she's still fumbling around with her newfound awareness and can feel basically the shift of the planes around her. This island, it just feels not right. It feels so. And she shivers.
I have
Unstable.
noticed you have been a little out of sorts the last few days. You disturbs you?
I just. Do you remember this? And I get out the rod of divination.
Of course. The whole reason we are here.
Indeed, I have been experimenting with it.
He
And
raises an eyebrow, but doesn't say anything.
trying to find out more about what is going on here and with our surroundings to gain an advantage over our enemies. And I think I might have found something. There. Well, a picture says more than 1,000 words, they say. Maybe a demonstration will do the same.
You're not going to summon another one of those fire creatures, are you?
Me summoning something. I think you have mistaken me for some form of wizard.
I am not so
No.
certain. I seem to recall a very recent certain birthday party that ended rather spectacularly.
Yeah, and I did not summon those creatures, and I did not order them to be summoned.
By the way,
Still
for
your
the
birthday, very
party's
good.
knowledge, Ragnar has, because it was fun to him, has been taking a job, at least for now, for the last few days, in the local smithy.
Oh, interesting.
Fair
He's
enough.
going to ruin
So you
the
can, you
whole
can.
statistics for creating
So
stuff.
the dwarves also thought that that was the best place for him to be while being a burning creature. So he's
Yeah, that's
found a.
true.
You can go there and have a chat with him if you wanted to, but if you want to know where he is, he's there and he's fine.
Yeah.
For the viewers who don't know him, Ragnar is an Azer that the party has befriended.
Mhm.
All the same, and Lorenzo will pull his rapier out very casually and loosely in one hand. You'll forgive me if I take a few precautions.
Oh, I did not meant to. Did you understand me as I was not going to attack you. I wanted to just
No,
show you something.
no, of course. But if something goes wrong, I'd prefer to face it blade in hand.
Ah, and I thought you wanted to challenge me to a duel, which would have been very
Not this
irregular.
kind of duel.
What kind of duel are we talking?
One perhaps a little bit more vigorous.
Interesting. Well, then let's go to the practice range, right?
And he sheaves his blade for now, proceeds to follow you.
And I'm going to ready my bow. And I will go and bonus action mark the target. And then draw an arrow and shoot. And it's going to flare this bright purplish color, almost the same color that her hair is, maybe a bit brighter and lighter. And it's going to explode on the target.
You see
This is-
Lorenzo doesn't move for a long moment as he stares at what you've just done.
By the way, Barrick, you also joined them outside, of course, as did the rest of the party.
And he very casually reaches behind you into your quiver, pulls one of the arrows loose before you can stop it, and starts inspecting it in front of him. What trickery have you put in?
Connection to the world around.
Come again?
What he said.
Connection.
I
She's
thought there's
drawing
significantly more
from-
like a disconnection to me, says and gestures towards the exploded target.
There's power in this world. Power that many people seem unaware of. I have access to similar powers too. I met with my mentor last night, and I've gained deeper access as well. And then I'm going to cast Lightning Lure on one of the targets nearby and pull it to me.
But you just rip it off. It's there's like a straw man on a stick, a really simple, basic straw man on a stick, and you just rip off all the straw, and there's only a stick left, with a big lash of lightning.
Oh.
You see Lorenzo's eyes widen, and a grin begins to split his face. This, I could make use of.
Yes.
I know more than just this now too. If one of you don't mind, can you put a little cut in your hand? Just draw a little.
Lorenzo very casually puts the arrow back in the quiver and then sticks his hands in his pockets.
I pull out one of the many blades I have hidden on my body and just
Which
nick
one?
my hand. I think I'm going to go for the one on the tie sheet because it's the easiest to grab.
Yep.
And then I hold out my hand. No blood magic, okay?
No blood. Spiritual. And he points his hand towards her hand, and as healing light seals the skin again. I've learned a few new tricks.
Any other tricks you care to share?
Later tonight.
Interesting.
So
What about you, Lorenzo?
I feel better than I ever have.
Any
That's-
new magics? You found powers?
I am not a magician, except with a blade. I've had that accused, and sometimes with other tools at my disposal. But magic is not something I've truly concerned myself.
Actually, I don't think that what I did would count as magic, to be quite honest.
It
Because
looks very much like it to me.
I do know what magic is, and I use prestidigitation to do certain few small tricks. That is magic, and
And
this
now that
this
you
is
actually
different.
feel it, Illyria,
Mhm.
now that you actually try to compare the two together, you do feel like a sort of similar force. At least it's different, but there's a sort of similar connection between them. You know,
Mhm.
it's two different things of the same coin, like the two different parts of the same coin.
I think it draws on the same source, but it is a different kind of drawing, for lack of better word.
I cannot help but get the impression you do not quite fully understand where this newfound ability has come from.
This is why I have to practice more.
So you cannot do this every time.
I can do this every time.
I'm beginning to feel slightly more confident about that.
I think I told you this before. I have been trained to become a Knight of Illum, and not just some wilting flower that you have to rescue. So I need someone to guard my back in battle because I work best from the shadow and on range. So I need someone for close combat to stick around me and take care of those who can get too close to me.
And you should well know by now that you have chosen a fine
Oh, I know. And I look at both of you. I say, I know.
Yes.
I feel very confident in our group's powers.
I think we're a competent group.
Yeah.
With arrows that can perform that kind of thing? And your ability to steal coin purses from great distances? Yes, I think the future is bright.
Oh, you
Wait
think
a
so, Small.
second. Steal coin purses from great distances?
Lorenzo just looks very innocently.
Don't
not
try
telling you
this
I'm not
trick
thinking the
on
same
me,
thing.
Lorenzo. We're not here to steal. We're here to find out
Please.
what is going on.
Why would I steal from my...
I'm not afraid that you would steal from me, but I would ask you to refrain stealing from the dwarves, who grant us so gracious their hospitality.
Oh, I would
They
not
have been
steal.
troubled with other things as well, so let's not add to their sorrows.
I have no problem stealing from those who deserve. The dwarves have been nothing but hospitable in our time here. I bet them.
Good. I'm glad to hear it. So, what we need, I think, we need a native guide, right? Someone who knows their way around this island and can lead us to the most likely places. When I hold this and I take out again the divination rod, I can feel it pull me in this direction, but we don't know what lies there. So we need someone who can tell us exactly what's going on.
When you hold it,
Mhm.
let me double check my map. When you hold it, you're on the northwestern part of the Dread Isle at this point. I'll see if I can put up the image for the stream as well. Give me a minute, guys.
Alright.
I should have the Sante map up.
Did you put up the map in Fantasy Grounds? No.
It's this one.
Oh, there it is. I see.
I'm gonna have to do some stuff to get this working for the viewers as well. Give me one more moment. For now, I'll start describing what it is. You're on the if you look on the map, there's a Dread Isle next to Drasha, and there's a little fortress on the north west of it. You're in that fortress at the moment, so you're on the northwestern part of the Dread Isle. When you hold the divination rod, you feel it pulling towards the northeast. To the south and to the west-southwest.
West-southwest. So we basically passed the isle with our ship, right? Because we came from Bridgeton, which lies in the west. So
Yes.
we moved around the island to get to Ubudun, right?
So it's still pointing in the same direction. So it does not seem to be pointing towards the Dread Isle.
Wait. I don't feel something on the Dread Isle?
It does not point towards the Dread Isle.
I shake the thing.
It seems to be
I think
pointing.
It's broken.
It seems to be pointing a little bit beside it, more to the south and to the northeast and to the west-southwest.
Huh.
That is encouraging.
That is... If I open my senses to detect a portal, can I feel a portal in my range?
Within a mile, right? No, you don't.
No, I don't. Huh. So I'm still feeling those major breaches, right? Where the lords of the elements might be breaking through, contained, trapped, or whatever, and nothing on the Isle of Dread itself.
No.
But isn't that weird? Because we heard that this is a major breach area, right? With explosions and mayhem galore. So what's going on? Again, shaking the rod, concentrating. And I hand it over to. I think you have not tried it before, right, Barack? So I'm going to give it to you, right? I hand it out. Test this. If you would be so kind.
Give me one moment. So I'm going to hold the rod in hand, close to my face, close my eyes, and concentrate on it.
You feel a specific pull, and if it goes towards the west southwest.
The west southwest.
Of where you are right now.
I feel something this way, pointing in the direction that I feel something.
But farther away than the island, right? Because I felt something from that direction as well. Say, look in that direction.
Yeah, you feel the biggest pull coming from that way, Barrack.
Well,
Okay.
with your elemental connection to Earth, it would be safe to assume that this is where the breach to the
Is this pointing towards my home?
place.
If you think of the map, probably.
Yep. I think it's calling me home.
Is it calling you to Rembarath? Rembarath? No.
No, just south of
I
the.
can't decipher my own handwriting. To Elemental Lord of Earth.
It's calling me to
The elemental lord of earth name is Gumbar, I think.
Is it? That does not look like Gumba at all. What I've written.
Yeah, Grumbar. Grumbar.
I feel Goomba's call.
Do you mean to tell me that you came all this way for nothing?
No, most certainly not.
I know that I came here to collect specific reagents for use later.
You also recall that when your other friend used it, it seemed to be pointing towards his homestead.
I remember that.
Because of what you think is his own innate connection to...
Kosut.
Yes. Also,
Yes.
your aunt had him had it point somewhere else.
Yes, she had it pointed at Kahuli? The elemental lord of air. No, wait,
Akadi.
ice. It was.
Istisha.
Yeah.
Istisha.
But we came here for a very specific reason. And we came here because air is lying in the northeast. So we are basically on our way to that breach because... No. Is it? Let me check. Let me double check. It has been a while. Yeah, I mean, I think we traveled this way because we followed one of the leads that pulled us in this direction.
Yeah,
And we
absolutely.
thought that
Go on.
it was, I think we thought that it was on the Isle of Dread because we heard so much about that island, right? And that it would have been just close, very logical to assume that it was connected to this weird place, right? So I think that is why we went here.
Yeah, and now that you're here, it still seems to still be pulling you towards the northeastern direction.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Well, I personally still need to investigate the isle, and if there's elemental disturbances that you are concerned about, well, this would be the place to learn more about things you have yet to understand.
I also think, from what we heard and from the prophecy, we know that the places the rod pulls us towards are places where the elements are strongest, where maybe those elemental lords are either doing this or maybe something has been done to them, and this is why that happens because we don't know if they truly are at fault, right? Um, it would be just logical to start with something small. And just this morning, when I was on the archery range, I could see a breach between the worlds, basically. So if we want to learn how to deal with such happenings, it would be better to deal with them. I mean, you don't send people out dragon hunting, right? You start with rabbits and deer and something harmless and small before you send them into danger. So,
There
not
is
to
a-
say that this is not dangerous. This is definitely very dangerous. But
There is a truth to what you say, but I cannot help but look at the evidence. When we arrived, there were an awful lot of dead dwarves, and these are formidable people. Whatever is here coming out of the breaches, it may be a little rash to assume that we can do much to stop it. However, I will not disagree that this is perhaps a very good time, very good place to find out more about breaches. The dwarves, I am sure, must be experts in the subject, given how long they have defended the place against those who would come against it.
indeed, I agree. So let's talk to their elders or priests or whoever leads them. I think Brontis has been stationed here for quite some time, and he might know someone who can point us in the right direction. Although he's the only one of his clan who is currently on the island, or
There was
one of the few.
there are a few.
Okay.
There's clan members for most dwarven clans on this island, so it's a constantly occupied dwarven fortress. It's where people get trained. They get sent here to get into actual combat. So
Okay. So people. Oh, okay. Interesting.
I think you have the right idea. It would be a wise move to get in touch with the dwarves. We may not be able to help them, but then that is A, not why we are here, and B, although we cannot help them, we can most certainly learn from them.
Well, I have the strong feeling that if you stop the world from being ripped apart by elemental forces, that is indeed a way of helping people. It might be a bit more indirect that they would hope for, but we are basically acting in their best interest.
True, but the local breach, I think, has existed for a great length of time. That I do not see as being a
a
problem.
few thousand years, so yeah.
Hmm.
That may be a little beyond our reach.
And there's an island with a fortress here, and it's not resolved, so probably it's not something that any magicians have been able to resolve in a simple manner, at least. So that's what you understand. Because then they would have done it already, you know?
I wonder if they tried shooting an exploding arrow into it.
And excuse me, what? You want me to shoot one of those arrows into the breach?
But you are not feeling confident? I thought we were very competent people.
Let's first try one of the smaller openings, okay? Before we
Because
start
he's a
experimenting
very
with
teasing
big
grin on his
things.
face as he says all of this.
You have been dueling too much. You have become overconfident.
Perhaps.
So let's go.
After you.
And I go on ahead.
Where do you want to go? Who do you want to
I
fight?
want to see one of their leaders or scholars, someone who looks like he or she is not just someone fighting in the day-to-day battle, but someone who knows what's going on.
You
knows about
recall
the lore.
from the first day about Guard Captain Narval Ironfist? That should be the guy in charge here. He's the Guard Captain, and that's what the big guy over here is basically called.
So, Guard Captain Iron Fist it is then.
Okay.
And I walk through this place as if it's mine. With utmost confidence. And I'm wearing full regalia of House Stormwind right now.
Okay,
So
so
not the stealthy outfit, but the one with the brightly blue colored tabard with the family crest embroidered on it, and the Stormwind blue cloak fluttering in the breeze, and the gilded feathers,
Yeah.
pauldrons
yeah,
on.
sure.
yeah.
It looks, yeah. You also notice that if you walk by some dwarven guards, you would definitely have a excellent way to get in this place and to create a diversion, because you just have to wear a fancy dress and everybody's distracted. So everybody's just in awe when you walk by in your full regalia. It's not something that they're quite used to over here. Like elves sometimes, but elves in this matter, not really. Especially with the rest of the group that's with you at the moment. You know, a human guy with a nice looking rapier and it's on his hip that looks like he can use it. A big earth-like looking guy that they haven't really seen before. A big Dramosh in there with his scaly skin. Then a dwarf from one of their own. It's an interesting sight to say the least, and you make your way.
I would like. Yep. Sorry.
No, sorry. I was just going to say, for flavour, I would say that if Lorenzo made eye contact with any overly female dwarves, there'd be the occasional slight grin and perhaps a flirtatious wink from him.
You know what? Roll an investigation if you can discern which the women are.
So, investigation.
Oh, goodness.
15.
It's the one whose beards look more silky.
Exactly, because they do have beards, and it's hard for non-dwarves to disconcern them. Because for dwarves, is a world of difference, you know. You know, the pretty ones are way different from the ugly ones as well. It's also, if you have a good beard as a dwarven woman, you're more in line to get the attention from men as well, you know. So yeah, there are a few well-bearded women that you see here and there.
He'll still offer the winks and the grins.
Yeah, some of them, they're all in full armor. Like most of them also look like they could definitely compete with the dwarven men in here walking around with the big weapons. Some of them wear giant axes or hammers or swords. Others wear shield and board. Others walk around with a few small little weapons, like they can handle them properly. Like all sorts and kinds. And yeah, everybody here looks at least well trained in what they do. But yeah, you do notice a little bit of their flirtatious side comes out as well when you get past them, and you get some attention of the ladies here.
Quite happy with that.
I'm spear point, right, of this little
Oh yeah, he'd be
parade.
Yeah.
off to one.
So I'm walking in front, and I have this mask of a politician and diplomat on right now. So with this perfectly polite smile, and in perfectly accented dwarven, I say, "Guardsman, top of the morning to you, guardsman."
Yeah, you get a few nice little courteous nods back, and you, with the help of Brontes, you find your way towards the guard captain's offices. The door seems to be wide open, and there's no guards standing by the door itself. And inside, you see this big, burly, bulky dwarf sitting next to a huge desk that seems to be made out of the stone itself, and it's full with all these papers and books that are laying open, on all inscribed in all kinds of different languages. You see dwarven runes, you see elven script, you see script that Barbara, do you speak what languages do you speak again?
I speak Common, Primordial, and Terran.
Okay, you definitely see some primordial markings here and there as well in between. There are even some drawings here and there of of stuff. Everybody can roll a perception actually when you enter the room.
I should have these dice out already, but
I rolled a 16. On perception. My fancy new dice.
14
Nice.
Ooh, that looks
plus-
familiar. Oh no, yeah.
I've got a 17,
Okay.
and
I've
I'm
just
using
rolled
my old
Oh.
reliable dice.
Mine have gold. Gold.
But
Yeah.
things.
I'm not as rich as the Germans.
So what did you roll, Sam?
I'm a lady after all.
21 for Lorenzo.
All right. So you also see a few images, and some of these images look like the methods that you've seen before as well, and that you heard describing of the other event, the Steam method event that you heard about in the other city. So there's some stuff that you do recognize. Also, there's some stuff that you don't recognize. It seems to be almost walking piles of rock, as well as, but it seems to be just a flame with arms and feet almost. You see small images, like there's a comparison made between dwarf size and other size. And let me double check. You see images of small little green guys with a little bit of hair that looks like vines, with spears, even smaller than the dwarves are. Yeah, when you enter, this guy looks up at you. Yes, can I help you? You're the travelers that arrived a few days ago, right? You came in with Brontes.
yes, the lady has a question for you.
Top of the morning. Guard Captain Iron Fist, I say and salute.
Top of the morning,
Oh.
Lady Illyria.
Oh, you know who I am. That is very good.
I know all your names, of course. I do know who's in this garrison with me.
Well, then you do know that I come with all the importance of the noble house of Stormwind and the city of Illum behind me. I am on a very important diplomatic mission.
From Alderaan.
Well, I don't hold myself busy with politics that much. I'm here to defend from what comes off the island more than anything. So,
Well, you might not have. Then you might not know that your island is what you have been troubled with for thousands of years. Something very similar is happening right now out in the world. There are portals opening and creatures pouring out and attacking, and then suddenly disappearing again. And there is a prophecy. And we are trying to find out what is going on and prevent from whatever is happening right now.
okay, how can we help?
I need all the information you have about what is going on this island. How are this open? I saw one on the archery range this morning, an opening to another plane. Have your people figured out in this centuries why those breaches open? Why the big breaches still open? Where they lead? What comes through? How to deal with it? Is there a way to close the smaller ones?
Oh, what we have found is that as enter parties to explore, not all of them come back, but the ones that do come back enter at the highest discretion, so they do not get caught by anything within the walls of the city, as he seems to be indicating the island as a city.
What do you mean? What lives in that city?
Well, and he points to a few of his papers in front of him. These kind of things we try to report and find out how to best deal with what we find, so they do not enter any of our grounds and lands. That's why we're here.
So you are saying you are not. Are you saying you keep this island basically like a prison, and everyone who tries to escape, you kill them before they reach the land surrounding?
I think that would be a fair description of our task here. We sometimes call ourselves the jailers as well.
Huh. That is very good to know. So, what exactly lurks in there? Show me
all-
those papers. I say and lean over his desk and look at his papers.
Yeah, you see the same things that you saw before, like strange creatures, strange kind of abominations, and elemental appearing creatures that you've never seen before in your life.
Is there some form of compilation, maybe a handbook, something that
Uh,
gathers all that knowledge and intel you must have gathered over the centuries?
well, most of what we do, we learn directly to our troops themselves, so they are prepared for what is happening. So most of the knowledge is well bred and well wrought within the minds of our people here. And whatever else and new we find, we write down. And most of what we have, I have in this room. And you see on the side of the room, there's like a big, uh, a bookcase that's full with books, at least maybe 70 or 80 different books or collections of papers within a binder or scrolls or stuff like that. So you think that what he has here in this room might indeed be the resources that they have at hand.
As this conversation is going on, Lorenzo will be looking at the various carvings, and as their attention goes to the bookcase, he'll actually start looking through the various books. Can I do an investigation roll as the conversation continues, just to see if there's anything particular that might stand out as useful?
Do you want to? I think I want to reverse the question. Is there anything you want to look for, maybe?
Anything what we're after, so anything that involves dealing with the breaches, closing them, the creatures.
So
that come out.
specifically the breaches themselves, you mean?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, sure. Roll an investigation. I'll ask you about the roll in a second again. Okay?
Yeah, no problem.
And
You guys carry
while
on.
he's doing that and she's talking, Barrick will be looking at the. You mentioned that there was pictures that he could see to just see if he recognizes anything in these drawings.
1 second.
Just cast turn dungeon master and he disappeared.
I'm good at that.
Does that mean you win?
One of the things you do recognize is an ankag.
An ink gag?
Yeah, it's. I'll show a picture on stream. It's maybe a bit easier.
Okay.
Mhm.
And I can pull it up on D&D Beyond, so I have. Well, no, I'll see stats. I don't want to see stats, so I'm not going to do that.
It's a insectoid creature that you know sometimes lurks.
Oh, okay, I know what you're talking about.
Big insectoids that you also
Mhm.
notice sometimes lurk down ground in the earth where you sometimes were in your where you came from.
Mm-hmm. All right. And, yeah.
So
What was the
Oh,
question?
I was just gonna say, yeah. So that's what I'm doing. So while she's talking, yeah.
And for the rest of it, it's not a lot you do recognize between it. Again,
Okay.
strange creatures.
So he says basically that the knowledge they impart, they train their troops, right, to recognize the creatures and deal with them.
By the way he
So-
speaks about it, you also think that, and by the notes that he's making, it's mostly about counteracting what they do, then combat tactics and that's that kind of thing. Then knowledge about how or why, as at least what he's currently in front of him.
I say this is, and I lean slightly forward and say, "Gods, Captain, you made me so happy. This is perfect. That means that you can lend one of your trainers to me, right? So they can give us a crash course on how to deal with whatever infests that island."
I'll get back to you in a second. Lorenzo,
Hmm.
this is how books go as well, right? You do find a singular book that, as you take it out, seems to be probably it's an old leather-bound book that seems to be mentioning some sort of schisms or portals, or that's what you can see on the cover. And as you open the book, it's only about 20% legible. Because the rest of it seems to probably either by water or some kind of acid. The text itself is just gone from the pages itself. What you do find, while only like scrolling through the pages a bit, is this is probably a book that might have derived from the island itself.
So
So,
it predates the dwarves.
so not Dwarven origin, but maybe something that they found on the island itself, which make you think that maybe if you do, if this is the kind of knowledge you do seek, it might be on the island itself. Still,
He holds the book up to the dwarven captain and waits for an appropriate break in the conversation before asking, "You are in need of this, or would you mind if I borrowed it?"
the guard captain looks at you, Illyria, and he says, "I think I can get the twins to help you out from this."
Twin?
Sadak and Neki, yes, the twins. They are part of our the team that goes in the most. They seem to be sneaky and stealthy enough to get in and out more than anyone else before them.
I hope we're not
sounds
needing
very-
to.
And then he looks to Lanzo. That book, it's quite old. If you do take good care of it, I guess I could lend it to you a bit.
I'm another man that emanates trust and responsibility.
Mm,
Then I guess I could part with it for a short while.
It is much appreciated, Master Dwarf.
Okay.
Long may your stone prosper.
And
Mm.
he hefts a mug that was standing in front of him and takes a big swig. After which his entire mustache is full of a yellow, white foamy substance, and a big dwarven tongue just scoops over it and takes it all in. Ah, thanks for that.
You mentioned sneaking in. Not in my forte. Is this something that we actually need to be doing to get in?
Well, if you want to get in, I'm not gonna stop you. I've never stopped anyone from entering. It's their own risk and life they're risking. There's more adventurers that have been trying to go in and out. Some have returned with magic treasure or other knowledge that we to this day have found useful. So it has been in our
Thank you.
advantage to let people in. But if you do go in, I recommend you do it as silent as possible, because you never know what creeps around the city blocks when you enter. Again,
Did you hear that?
sorry?
Did you hear that, Lorenzo? He said the magic word. Treasure. Illyria says.
So he did.
So, you say there are people coming in. Do they leave reports or something from what they saw, what they found, where they found the stuff they did find?
Again, what they did find themselves in treasure, we never withheld them because it's their own right to take what they find. However,
Mm.
what they did find in knowledge, we all stored here.
I hope you extend this right to visitors.
What do you mean by this?
The right to take what one finds.
Sorry?
The right to take what one finds.
Well, if you want to go in, if you get out again, I'm impressed enough so you can keep your shit.
Put like a dwarf. Brilliant.
And he lifts his mug again and takes another big swig.
So, the name of the twins, and where are they?
Sadak and Neki.
Sadak and Neki.
And I'm sure if you're looking for them, they'll find you.
If one of them isn't painted blue with red shoes and spikes, I'm going to be disappointed.
I don't get the
Sonic,
reference.
come on, it's very close.
I don't get the reference, sorry.
Sonic,
Sonic the Hedgehog.
Oh no, it's Sadak, S-A-D-A-D-E.
Oh, Sadek. Sorry.
Okay.
I got it SANIC.
No, Sadak and Neki. Yeah, if you're looking for them, I'm sure they'll find you.
Mm-hmm. Very well. So you don't have lore keepers, right? You just have those trainers.
Yes, our lore gets forwarded by our trainers in how to best beat what we do know of the regular escapees, so to say.
I understand. Do you perchance... Oh, wait a second. We have the dwarven part of the prophecy, right?
You've got
OOC?
a dwarven part of the prophecy.
Have you ever heard of a certain prophecy about the elemental planes?
Prophecy? I don't know of such a
Yes.
thing. No.
When elements are out of balance, to postpone total destruction.
Doesn't ring a bell. Sorry.
No? That is too bad. The dwarven part says, crypts shall crumble, the mountains will burn to create a savior. It need believers. When time continues, he will arrive to create. I look up at him, trying to see.
He looks more confused than anything right now.
Inside
it's-
check.
Yeah, sure.
That is 16 again. What's with this dice?
You think he doesn't know what the hell you're talking about?
Okay. Never mind, guard captain. Don't you worry. You do a great job, and all of Arova is appreciating the great service you and your people do for it.
Thank you very much. We do not do it for the appreciation, but it's well taken. And he gives a little bit of a head nod to you.
I bow to him. Let's find those fits then.
Okay.
Just a quick one. I've just rolled a 17 on investigation to see if there's anything in the bookcase that might be related to prophecy.
Okay. You do not find anything related to the prophecy.
No worries. Worth a shot.
Yeah. Sure. That would be something you probably would have looked at any kind of bookcase you're at, I think, right?
In theory.
Yeah. Yeah, you don't find anything about the prophecy.
All right.
So he gives you a bit of a nod and he says, well, as long as you're here, you're welcome to stay where you're at. We will sure you're well fed, and if you ever need to go out there, we will sure at least to give you some basic supplies so you don't get killed straight away.
I have to say, I find myself in dire need of more arrows.
Arrows are to your fullmost availability.
Oh,
Grab her however much you
fantastic,
need.
guard captain.
I must
The
say that-
armory is open for you guys.
I must say, you know, we journey with a bard. I am going to have him sing praises of dwarven hospitality everywhere we.
Well, the best hospitality, the best ales.
Unequivocally.
At least,
best-
and then he scoffs, but everything at least is better than that shitty sour Elvis shit, right?
Indeed. It is hard to compare elven wine to dwarven ale.
I mean, even the human wine is better than that stuff.
Everyone knows that human wine is best. I say.
This lady
And
knows
there's
what she's
that.
talking about.
But nothing compares to dwarven mushroom spice. And with that I leave.
He gives a bit of a grin. This person definitely knows what she's talking about.
This is what happens in noble circles, my friend. This is the kind of thing they don't tell you about.
Yes, so you guys exit the room, and there are a little bit of laughter behind the desk that you leave.
I should have known, I say when we are well out of earshot. If they would have found a way to close those breaches, they would have done so a few centuries ago. They're sitting here on their keep sharpening their axes and just hit and smash everything that comes out.
It
Very
is
well
a
done.
fruitless task, but we may get lucky. There might be those who have had some small success in closing smaller breaches, so even
Well-
possibly sections.
I'm telling you now, I don't intend to spend the next centuries of my life guarding some breach into another plane. I fully intend to close them up again and return things to a very normal state of being, a profitable normal state of being.
I like the second part.
I knew you would.
But this, he says, and he holds up this warm leather-bound journal. This may hold at least some answer.
Information. Yes.
He hands it to you for your investigation.
Okay.
It seems to predate even the dwarves. It looks far older. It certainly is not written in Dwarven script.
Let me get
I'm-
a timeline.
Oops. Can I roll investigation to cross-read or just go through to see what's going on in this book?
I guess because of the state it's in and the places where it's a little bit wrecked and stuff, you'd have to
Mhm.
spend some more time to get as much
Alrighty.
information in a correct order as you could, you know? So
Alright.
it's not really a skimmable book now in its state. So you could get more
Okay.
information out of it by spending some time in it.
Then I'm going to spend some time, some quality time with this book
Okay.
in order to cover all the secrets that it contains.
The
But
rest
for
of you?
now,
Yeah, you can still keep going for now.
let's search for the twins. Now and then, with this mischievous grin, I say, Sadek, Neki, where are the twins? Where are the good twins?
Whenever you
Okay.
say that, but like you say that sometimes when you're walking through a hallway, and every
Mhm.
time you say it, you just hear a few of the dwarfs that you pass just start a little bit of a grin and a laughter when you call out
As
to
soon
them.
as soon as they start to laugh, I look at them and wink and I say, well, if you know where the twins are, do me a kindness, send them my way, okay?
I'm sure they know.
On that note, can I just have a look in the general area and see if there's any thieves' cant signs? As soon as he's spoken about sneaking, that sort of thing, that might point to this presence of these two.
You look around and you only notice at a few locations you do find some thief cant marks while you have been walking around through this thing, and mostly what you have found are some markings at the stars of the wings for the different dwarven clans, which basically relates besides the dwarven name, like a small description or like you can these are gullible enough to gamble with, these are the ones that you don't want to fuck with or don't want to double cross, so a little bit of the descriptions of how the different clans are, but that's the only thing you do find about this. So there is some sort of
Yeah.
thing going
Lawrence
on,
will
but
be
not
fine.
enough. You don't think it's enough for a actual underground network or anything here.
Lorenzo will be filing this information away for further notice. And just for my reference,
Yeah.
what is the thieves' cant saying about the Frostbeard clan?
Heavy drinkers, but sharper when they're still drunk.
Okay.
And good fighters, basically. So yeah,
Fair enough. That'll do me.
that's about the short shorthand for it. So yeah, you keep walking around, occasionally shouting out, and every time we shout out, you'll see more dwarves just grinning and laughing a bit.
I'm not doing this for very long, just, I don't know, half an hour or so walking around. It's basically like, Lassie! Like calling for a stray puppy or something. And then I say, so now that we have caught their attention, let's get some of that maybe dwarven ale and read this book, I say, and hold it up.
Okay.
Make plans, get provisions.
You'll hear from your left side, almost you have the feeling like it's someone whispering in your ear, from a little bit of, not even a dark spot, but a little bit of the light doesn't really fall into a crevasse behind a pillar, and you hear in your ear whispering, "Well, I hear you talk about this human stuff you really like. Might I recommend you come along with us and get some of that instead?"
And I look down and I say, Sade, I presume.
Very well met, my dear. And out of this shadow steps looks to be a sort of a combination between a humanoid and a snake.
Have I ever seen a creature like that?
You have maybe everybody can roll a history check on this, or a
Okay.
history or a nature even.
I think I have.
I go with
Um,
history because that's what I have. Oh, that is a 21.
No.
that beats my 17.
Use my 6.
Lorenzo, you have no idea what it is, and something just steps out of the shadow, and even you're used a little bit of using shadows to your advantage, but this is some uncanny work that he just steps out of this. And you have no idea what it is, and Illyria and Barrack, this is a UNT.
So are they called UNT in your world as well?
Sorry?
Are they called like normally your races have other names?
Yeah, no, this is just a UNT indeed. It's just a snake folk.
All right.
Do they have the same
Um,
history as the traditional D&D world?
Sort of.
Are they typically regarded as untrustworthy evil creatures?
Yes.
Hmm.
They're not necessarily people you would find in a day-to-day life, and if you do find them, they would probably be up in a this block that that people that you can set someone in and people can throw tomatoes at you and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
That before they get executed. So yeah, these are usually untrustworthy folk.
I have to say, I say, and putting the book basically under my arm, with one hand in the other hip, and looking that creature up, and then this day gets more interesting by the minute. Let's have that human wine.
And as you say that, out of the same alcove, another UNT steps. You have the idea that you have no idea where he comes from, because you even double checked after he stepped out that there was no one else there, but someone else still steps out. It's a similar looking creature, so another UNT. Also, you do this concern that this might be of another race. However, they look similar enough to understand why they are called the twins. And you think this is Neki. So Sadak, the male Yuanti, and Neki, the female Yuanti, who step out of the shadows.
Lorenzo is standing still, looks quite relaxed. There's a little smile playing over his features that doesn't quite reach his eyes, but his hand's not a million miles away from his rapier, and he's looking these two creatures over he's almost scrutinizing them. Their every movement, flickers, almost seems like he's weighing them up.
Barrick is much less subtle. He's frowning with disapproval, with realizing that the twins are Yanti. But he says nothing.
Yeah, okay. Well, can we then lead the way? And they take you along, and they move what seems to be further down and down and down into the hill/mountain that you're on, and you end up at the big gate that leads onto the beach itself, where you saw this funeral rite happening before. It's still early-ish in the morning right now. You haven't spent too much time yet, and they just relax, sit down in the sand, and invite you to sit with them. Looking a little bit to one side, you can see part of the land itself, and to the other side, you can look on a similar level instead of from the top side where you were before, onto the side of the island. And in this state, the sun is still in its early rising day hours. The sun just beams through the island itself almost, or at least some reflection of the sun beams through this island. And the combination of the innate magical shimmer and forces of the island itself just empower and increase the light that appears off it. and it's an immense, amazing sight of. Imagine the Aurea Borealis right now, only spread along the contours of the shadows of a shit of the remainders of the city that just pops out with the light of the sun falling upon it.
It reminds me, says Lorenzo, gesturing to the view, of the nightingale flower, one of the most beautiful things you'll ever see, and one of the most lethal.
And Sarek looks at you. Ah, I see. We have a connoisseur.
Of a sort. I think the lady is a little bit more refined than one such as myself.
Plus, please sit with us. Enjoy this wonderful morning.
Lorenzo will take a seat.
You'll
he'll
just
keep-
plop down in the sand, basically. You know, like on a
yeah,
on
so
a
cross
dive.
leg. Okay.
Imagine like a late night where you've been going out in your earlier teens, you know, or your late teens, and you spent the entire night, and then when the sun comes up, you sit on the beach, and you do that kind of idea.
So sit very relaxed, cross-legged. He'll make a point of staying between his charge and the two snake men.
Snake man and snake woman.
Okay, well, yeah, those two.
Yeah.
He'll make a point of staying between them, but looks relaxed for all appearances.
All right. So yeah, you all take a seat, and Naki just in front of him scoops away the sand, and pulls out seems to be a wooden crate. Pulls it out, and below it you'll see even more stuff. Like there's a few weapons in the hole that you see. There's a few flasks or tankards in there as well. But he pulls out this crate, opens it up, and in there's a few bottles. 2.5 are empty and 2.5 are full of what seems to be human wine. And they pull out these bottles of this crate, pull out a few of these tankards out of the hole, then put the crate back in, put on some sand again, and it seems to be gone. Everybody needs a good stash.
Lorenzo eyes it appreciatively and gives it a grin. I am beginning to see why you two have the reputation that you do.
Well, it's our job. It's what we get paid for. I mean, the dwarfs are a little bit blunt in their ways. However, they are very strong socializers, which we kind of miss sometimes, being us, as you can imagine.
You do not have people of your own here.
Well, there's a reason why we're here, and that with our folk. You see, we are sort of exiles.
Lorenzo actually looks a bit somber at that, but he doesn't make any comment.
And Barrick raises his eyebrow, but remains silent still.
And his
yeah,
silence. Sorry, go ahead.
they give out everybody a flask or a tankard and fill up with some human wine.
Lorenzo stopped them before they pour for him, and not for me. I'm feeling a little inspired. My hands need to be filled with something else. And he starts
so
rummaging.
Sadek raises what you think should be an eyebrow, and he says, "If you talk to us, you drink with us."
In time.
Can I roll medicine to see if the drink is drink or if it's laced with anything?
Yeah,
sure.
that's what I was thinking.
So you want to nip it and taste it?
Yeah, I would like to perception check if I can taste something strange.
Roll a nature or perception, I
Nature?
guess.
Nature or perception?
Okay, so
Let's
medicine.
let's just make it nature or survival actually.
Survival.
Survival? Oh, that's even better.
Yeah.
19.
Same here. Twins.
You have a you have a good taste for how human wine should taste, and you also have some sort of taste of how certain additives might be, but this seems very also high standard human wine. there's nothing wrong with it. It's just really high class human wine, and you also see them pouring it in their own glasses and taking a drink themselves.
Okay. Barrick will relax a little bit and start to drink.
Same here. And I
Slowly.
toast them as I sip, take another sip and say, "You have a refined taste. I approve."
A refined hand can get refined materials and stuff.
As they
And-
say this, Lorenzo will finish rummaging through his back and he'll actually produce a small violin. And he'll very casually just begin to strike up this low, soothing orchestral theme. And it just fits in with the elegance of the scene and the setting that they've got in the background. And just casually provide some background to this conversation.
You actually see Neki close her eyes and almost a little bit to the side and back and forth, being almost entranced by the music itself, then open up her eyes again towards again the rising sun onto this amazing view of this purple, blue, yellow, and green light coming from this city. And yeah, she seems totally entranced by what you're doing right now.
So, I believe we're looking for a number of things. One of the things that I'm looking for is some mushrooms that grow here and only here in the Isle. Would you be so kind to inform me where I might find them more specifically?
Which mushrooms do you need?
I don't remember the name that you gave them.
One second. Let me see if I can find that.
I can just make up a name real quick.
Sure.
They've been called by some people, and it has a few different names, but the name that most common folk know them by is the frostfire mushroom.
Ah, yes, these do tend to grow here. They only grow in these environments because of the influence of the elemental magics.
Yes. That's why I've come. This is a unique location.
Yes,
but
we've used them
where
in our
on the isle?
poisons as well.
I glance at the wine and then back to them. So, where specifically are they located on the isle? I mean, the isle is not large, but it's also not small.
I recommend you go as close to the origination point as possible, because here is not only the mushrooms more to be found, but also the essence of these mushrooms is stronger than those on the sides of the island.
Very informative. Thank you. And Barrick is slowly relaxing.
Lorenzo will remark casually while he's still playing this violin, and his eyes sort of half close as he's getting into the rhythm of music. And he'll casually remark to Barrick, "You never quite explained what it is you wish to do with it. It's a long way to go for a little bit of local agriculture."
There's power in connection with the world. Natural energies, spiritual energies, elemental energies. This is an ingredient I need to gain deeper connection.
I see. And he casually puts a hand over his mouth a little bit and remarks to Lady Illyria, "Drugs, then."
No. He has been training with my people and some shamans that we have heard of in Bridgeton. I think that this is not about drug abuse, but truly seeking a deeper understanding of how the world works, which
No.
I approve of.
For the uninitiated, it could be a drug. For those that are careful, for those that know the correct mixture, for those that know the proper rituals, is more than that.
Lorenzo's still got that same sort of teasing smile on his face, but he does nod and continues with the music. I will take it your word. But you'll forgive me if I don't wish to partake.
I wouldn't encourage you to. It's dangerous.
I think this place is quite dangerous enough.
So,
This is all fine and good, but twins.
so what can we help you with?
I am here, we are here, to investigate the Isle of Dread. Find out what exactly is going pear-shaped over there with the elemental planes and the portals. Breach. Tell me what you saw there, and where to find it, and how to deal with it.
You
And
mean
tell me
the
about the creatures inhabiting the island.
what we know of the breaches on the island? You mean?
Yes.
Well, you
me
mean the
everything.
breaches where the entities enter?
Are there more breaches?
What
than
we
those?
know is on our scouting missions, not every time we enter the same way is safe. We have to
Hmm.
find a new way every time we enter, because the chance of a schism, as we call them, being anywhere on the island is as likely as anywhere else.
When were you last there?
Oh, we just got back this morning.
Oh.
We do scouting missions as regular as we can to keep the best ways of defense in order.
When will you head out again?
I think we will rest for a bit, especially after the unfortunate dissection of a lot of the local army. I think at the moment defense instead of exploration and deeper assault, which we usually do, is in order.
Oh, that is too bad. I hoped we could make
If you
use of
intend
your
to,
expertise.
if you intend to enter, we could at least take you part of the way. However, we do not, we will not enter the more dangerous parts of the island. Here, we will let you be on your own accord, if that is what you can live with. If you
I
live
look
at
at
all, he smiles.
Lorenzo and Barik, questioning.
No?
Can we, gentlemen?
I think we
Lorenzo,
can.
What
sorry,
is it that you are looking for? As said, we have been on this location and on all different spaces and locations of the island so far. So we might have an understanding in finding, at least knowing maybe where to find what you need on the island. Because it seems, after all your experiences in Bridgeton and with your Azor friend, there's more to this.
I think it
My,
could be summed
my.
up with needing knowledge.
What knowledge do you seek?
The knowledge that we seek is, how do you put it? The knowledge that we seek is to deal with the rifts, the schisms, the things. Hopefully, some knowledge on words that were shared with us. Knowledge on what's happened here.
Well, then I might recommend you going to the origination point. Because here there is still a building standing itself.
in the
we have-
center?
The
Sorry?
origination point?
In the center, I think.
The origination point, as you have seen yourself as well, the origination point itself is not in the dead center of the island. It was maybe a little bit more to the side of the island, so that's why on one side of the island more buildings are still quote-unquote standing. But yeah,
Does
and
the-
he says
does-
there's still a building standing on the origination point itself. However, we have not been able to enter this building ourselves. We have never taken a chance.
What kind of building are we talking? And does the city that is on the Isle of Dread, does it have a name?
Okay, Sadak actually, sorry, Naki pulls out a little bit. Naki hasn't spoken so far, right?
Mhm.
Naki pulls out a small little journal with a small drawing of what seems to be,
Mhm.
if you look at it, a construction of a big building with a front entrance and what seems to be a house part to it, and next to it maybe a big hangar or big thing, a big room actually, at least like a garage or a side thing to it. This we expect to be, if you compare it to a lot of other buildings that are still standing, might be one of the research labs of one of the specific researchers back then.
Hmm. Well, I think I say and look at the other two. We have just found our destination.
Yes, it seems like the origination point is the key to a lot of things.
Oh yes, I want to
However,
hear
these are
very
not
loud.
the only interesting parts are here. As I've seen before, you might be users of magic. These have not been around in long times, and a lot of the magic shields that were up back when might be moved or not up anymore. So some locations might be available that are not that were not in a while ago.
Oh,
We also noticed a big, strong source of elemental origin magic coming from on top of
where?
the tower.
On top of the tower?
Yeah, you do know that there's one huge, big ass tower, almost like a
I
lighthouse,
saw the
standing
crooked
on,
one.
and it's close to the origin point, but still standing. You know, that's also weird. So somehow it resisted the initial force or blast of what happened. It's rickety and crooked, but it's still standing.
Interesting. No, more than interesting. I want to go on to that tower. I know it's a done deal.
Lorenzo, who's still playing this soft, gentle music, has got his eyes fully closed at this point, and he just smiles gently and remarks, "Ah, Lady Donwind, you'll take me to the most exciting place."
Ah, and you like it because you will get paid for it. Quite handsomely by the House of Drumwind, I might add.
It is what I love most.
Yes, I get it. I say, and I do adjust the hairpin in the.
All right. Is there anything else we can help with?
The creatures. What kind of creatures are we going to? What is going to be most likely to await us there?
As far as we know, pygmies are a big problem. They have found ways to incorporate their own way of living with the strange things and beings in and on the island.
Which pygmies?
Yes,
Have I
veggie
heard of
pygmy.
those creatures? Nature check.
Yeah.
11.
Everybody can roll on that, by the way.
Okay.
Nature, right?
Mhm.
Let's see here. Where did-
I rolled very poorly.
18.
Wow. 19 plus nature -1, so 18.
These are basically moldies, mold folk, mold man, a fungus creature that live usually in dark forests or underground. They spread their own spores in which they reproduce, but they're usually not of uh, the good kind.
You know, I did not.
They're an infectious race, so if they find a place to stay, they try to spread their spores out to spread their own race out. It's not a good thing. And to think of it, the small things with the spears and the hair, you think now might be these veggie that they are talking about.
I did
Also-
notice some carvings back in the dwarf holds that seemed perhaps pygmy in size. The dwarves must have encountered them before.
Yes, these are of course regular encounters. These are the things that usual strike groups go in the city to clean up. For if these groups get too big, we need to protect our defenses more, so we rather eradicate the vermin while they are small.
They grow.
As soon as they grow in their colony, they will grow themselves, also growing other species besides them.
What other species have you encountered?
We have encountered these strange creatures called thornies, which are fungus, four-legged, strange dog-like creature, if that's the closest description you can find.
How is it they fight? Given their size and stature, are they aggressive or are they defensive? Guerrilla warfare? Should we expect traps?
Can they
Uh,
use magic?
Uh,
asked.
they are fungus-like creatures. Things like poison and nature-alike abilities do not work as well against them as other things. However,
Well,
I would not concern yourself too much with these unless you find them in great quantities. The reason why we go in stealthily is mostly to avoid packs of these.
I can do stealthily.
I can try.
I can show you how to do it.
I'll follow the lead.
Otherwise, anything we find is every time different. We do find a lot of methods in there, as we have so far called them, which are small little flying creatures of
Oh, believe me.
different elemental force. We have seen steam methods, magma methods, and other kinds of methods.
How unpleasant.
Mud methods, ice methods, smoke methods, dust methods.
I know you have not entered into the tower, but you must have been around it, certainly. Have you noticed anything particularly noteworthy that might lay in wait for us there,
At where, sorry?
at the tower?
We have not yet entered this location because this only seemed to have recently opened up. The magic forces around this tower used to be greater than they are right now. We have not yet had the chance to enter here.
I like surprises.
I don't. Unless it's gift. That's okay then. But this does sound unpleasant.
It's the spice of life. It's enjoying to discover something new.
I mean, last time we encountered the methods, I was not exactly in the right outfit. And, well, I did not have you to hide behind, I say, and place my hand on Varric's shoulder and wink at you. So maybe this time will be different.
I think
Lorenzo smiles and nods at the longbow that you've got. I think perhaps this time you may be able to exact a little vengeance.
Yes, this time we don't have to climb on trees and jump
You
in order
might.
to catch those little buggers. Yeah, I don't have. I promise you, Lorenzo. I'll take them down for you, and then you can finish them if there's something left after I'm done.
He taps the small hand crossbow that he's now got strapped to his back. Perhaps we will see who is the better.
Have you seen me in that bandit camp? Standing on that tree, taking down those bandits? Do you really want to wager who's the better shoot from
A
us?
wager? No. But I will take great pleasure in competition.
Oh, as will I. And who knows, maybe someone will get close enough and I can take out my blade. And then we can compare that as well.
If I were a betting man, I know where I'd put my money. And then I glance towards Lady Stormwind.
Dormant.
Are a wise man.
Dormant or Stormsong?
Genau.
Stormsong.
I know who you meant.
Yeah.
And I slightly preen and take a deep sip.
Is there anything else we can help with?
Have you ever heard of a prophecy? Your people are very secretive. Maybe you have heard of.
Our people believe in a lot of prophecies, as is their way. However, there are reasons why we are not with our people anymore.
But maybe you have heard this prophecy I talk about. Maybe a children's rhyme or story. It always starts with when elements are out of balance to postpone total destruction.
Well, elements have been out of balance on this location for quite a while.
Yes, so it is not too unlikely to ask about such a prophecy, right?
This does not ring a bell with me. I'll ask my fellow friend and sister.
Ooh. 21 on my insight check.
He doesn't seem to recognize it.
I can tell that you are telling the truth. This is too bad. I ideally wished for someone else to give me another piece of the puzzle so I could figure out what is going on, but your help has been. I appreciate it. As I do appreciate this wine, I say and raise my glass. So, you are willing to guide us over there and lead us at least part of the way?
Well, of course, we could strap in and get ready for it by next morning.
Splendid. That sounds like a very good plan. I need to get some supplies.
Okay.
Well, where are we going to meet?
Let us say we meet tomorrow morning, 2 hours before sunrise, at this location.
Very well.
Hmm.
What is it?
Well, I just find myself impatient, is all.
Patience is a very good thing, but it stops one from doing something rash.
Sometimes.
Well, at least there are real beds to be had here.
Fair enough.
Enjoy the company.
You
I
wound
thought
me, I say, standing up. Tiring of my company already.
Never.
I'm going to find some arrows now. If you would excuse me.
I'll see you later.
Yeah, you find your way to the armory easily.
And I'm going to try to fit as many stacks of arrows for once in my quiver, so I can still put them out, and also get some in reserve, basically.
You could maybe grab a second quiver for someone to carry, maybe. Or maybe you could strap it next to
a big
it.
strapping urchiness you can carry quite a lot. I get several new quivers.
Or maybe you could strap two of them together.
Yeah, even better. His back is pretty broad, right?
Yeah.
And I start firing arrows.
Yeah,
A massive ton of arrows.
No, but also for yourself, you could maybe, strap two quivers together to get some more arrows out of it.
I get so many arrows. How many arrows are we talking?
So you
If I
managed
were
to
enough
strap
quivers-
two quivers together and get space for 40 arrows.
40 doesn't sound so much. Yeah, I will get more than 2 quivers, right?
You can also strap a bundle together with some rope to carry around if you want.
Yes, I would like to do that.
Now you
I
can
would like to. I'm going to put 2 quivers together, or one in easy reach, so I can just switch them out after a fight. And then I'm going to get a whole stack of arrows. And I get one of my companions to carry that for me if it's too heavy for me to carry around.
So if I just cover myself in arrows, can I get an AC bonus? Just like quivers on my legs, quivers on my arms, chest, back.
Sorry, man.
What you could do, you just get vulnerability to fire damage with all the wooden shafts.
I'm okay with that.
Also, that movement speed in the end. So yeah, it's gonna be hard. So yeah, you managed to get some quivers filled with arrows.
So I have 40 on my person, and I get like another 40 to give to someone else, right? Does that sound reasonable?
Sure.
Alright.
If people want to carry that for you.
I can be very persuasive. Illyria can be very persuasive.
So Lorenzo and Barrick, what do you do?
Barrick will be meditating and kind of just mentally preparing himself. And later tonight, who knows?
So you want to sit on the beach?
Sure.
Okay. Lorenzo?
Lorenzo will be staying on the beach. He'll continue with his music for some time. He may break off to build a small campfire, just so that they've got something to illuminate the night. But other than that, he'll again be sleeping there, stretching himself out across the sands, generally not bothered about the exposure to the elements at all. Seems quite comfortable, very languid.
All right. Weather's okay enough, so you spent the entire day just relaxing on the beach, basically. You maybe during the day do a little bit of, some footwork exercises and some, rapier exercises.
If the beach is close enough to the water, he'll go for a swim occasionally. Well, like,
Yeah, it's close enough. You have been warned about the fact that stuff might come from the water, though.
okay, fair enough then.
Because being so close to the island and everything, it's not really the place to go for a nice swim.
Fair enough then. In that case, yeah, just the odd bits of footwork, more of the music,
Yeah, sure.
building a campfire and just chilling out.
Okay. Naki seems to be, Sadek is going his own way. Naki seems to be just sat with you next to the campfire, reading and writing in this same journal that you showed before. Just chilling. Alright. So, you all spent the day. You want to do anything else during the day? Any of you?
Be a
There's
good
something else
opportunity
to
to study
find
the
out,
book.
right? Sorry, what?
It'd be a good opportunity to study the book.
Yes, that is what I'm going to do. I'm going to read.
Sure. Roll me an investigation.
All right.
Because it's a hard to puzzle together book.
Okay. Going to use a different dice for this one. Ooh, that is a good roll. Investigation, you say. This is 17. Golden dice.
Okay. What you managed to get out of the book is that it's cobbled together information, so it's not really clear. So these schisms, as they also refer to it in these books, seem to be potential locations where you or people or objects are able to traverse between the elemental planes, and these schisms seem to be potentially created as well. Because this book is from way back in the research time, you might think that this is a book talking about how to create or manage these things.
How
however,
to create?
yeah. However, you cannot find the knowledge here to create it yourself. It more describes the ideas and the theories behind it.
Okay.
How these worlds are all on the same level, but there's walls between them, and you can sometimes open doors between these walls, which form these schisms. And it also you also find some information that these schisms can also arise sporadically because of a lot of elemental natural force being on a location, either being drawn away or put there. So if a lot of change in elemental force happens, you can get these accidental schisms, uncontrolled schisms.
Yeah. So it's basically a book about planar theory, right?
Schism theory,
And
yeah.
portals. Okay. And this book is very old, right? Before the big breach appeared?
It's at least. Let me double check. We're in 16801 right now. It's at least 13,000 years old.
Oh. Oh yeah.
No, sorry, at least 9,000 years old. Say, at least.
Old enough that's even old for an elf.
Yeah. So again, hard to puzzle together, and
With
this is what you get
respect
out of it.
and yeah. And make my own notes about what I think is going on, and put that in the book where I started pinning down or writing down the prophecies. Okay. But does this indicate that what happened or what is going on the Dread Isle, that is something that happened intentionally? Did someone try to create a portal in some way or shape and it went haywire?
There's one potential reason why shit would have blown up, but you don't know enough about the rest of elemental magic to know if there could be 1,000 reasons basically.
Okay.
This would be could have been if you got a schism that's too big, maybe.
Okay.
It's an option. But yeah, generally major shifts in elemental forces, so changes in elemental forces give accidental rifts, and if you can get control, usually with certain magic items that can guide elemental magic maybe, or innate magic from yourself, you should be able to make these schisms as well.
So would it be reasonable to expect that Barrick could have some control over these rifts?
Nope. Takes a lot of study as well. It's a very theoretical book, so this is as far as Aliric is concerned, it would be a book that would be read by high level, high experience shamans, druids, wizards, those folk, you know. It's
Okay.
really theoretic.
Okay.
It just explains a bit about how these portals might originate, how these schisms might originate. So you all spent the day?
Yes, indeed.
Anything you want to do by night?
I know what I want to do.
I know what Illyria wants to do, but I'm not going to tell you. Chat.
You spend yet another fun, cozy night together, and Lorenzo falls asleep on the beach?
Yep.
Yeah, sure.
Maybe he has a fun, cozy night with the snake lady.
Oh
Who
god,
knows?
he's got standards.
Wow.
She also seems to
Wow.
be as soon as you fall asleep with her still writing and reading in a book, you get woken by her as well a few hours before sunrise, Lorenzo.
In like woken as an alarm clock or in other fashions?
Just you get poked and shoved a bit, calmly woken by someone still with the veil of darkness over you.
He comes to pretty quickly and stretches very languidly like a cat before rising up and standing. Morning already. I must say the stand was far more comfortable than I expected.
And she offers you a plate with some bread and cheese and a mug with some what you think is ale in it.
You are too kind, silly. And he will partake of the breakfast. Where is your brother?
And she points towards the fortress.
Is he gone to fetch the others?
She shrugs her shoulders.
I hope so. It would save me a task. I will give him some time.
Yeah, meanwhile, the two of you wake up together a few hours before sunrise. Especially Olivia, with your internal, you don't really sleep, so your internal clock knows when to get up.
Good morning.
Good morning. Did you sleep well?
Yes, it was quite relaxing after a vigorous night.
Glad to hear that. Are you ready to go?
Soon as you are.
Born ready, I say. Already
The
strapped
same.
in armor. I noticed you only fight with one weapon.
Yes. I
I'll
fight
be
more
right back. Keep
effectively
role-playing, guys.
that
Sorry,
way.
what? Oh, okay. If things go as planned, I usually use the bow, as I prefer it. But I do have my parents insisted on me taking this, and I take out my shield, which has the crest of my house emblazoned on it, enameled, basically. It's this typically shield shape with the pointed end, and it looks a bit like this, and it has the crest of the noble house of Dormwind on it, which are two birds, one black and one white, back to back, with gilded wings, so it looks like gold. And I say, looking a bit shyly down, well, in old stories, ladies who favor a knight do give him a handkerchief, but I think this might be more helpful.
Barrick takes the shield. Thank you, my lady. You are too kind.
Try not
I will
to get
use
hurt
it.
out there.
I'll use it to protect you and protect myself.
That's what I ask.
So you pack your stuff, get ready for your way, and move out towards the beach again.
Yes.
By the time you get there, Lorenzo will be going through some basic sword fighting, kind of loosening his muscles up, that sort of thing.
All right. Yeah, Barrage, Brontes and Xander are with you as well. Ready to go exploring the island and see what's up there. You meet up on the island where Lorenzo just finishing up with his breakfast. And about half an hour later, you see that Sadek comes out towards the beach, together with a few dwarves with what seems to be a few packs with them. Also, the guard captain is with them.
And Dwarven, I say good morning, guard captain. I did not know that you would wish to accompany us.
Good morning. I'm not accompanying you. However, I am here for a different reason.
Which is?
I must ask you for your help if you are going to this island.
What do you need?
Last night, I have gotten a report that one of our scouts got left behind or trapped during one of the scouting missions during the big battle on the beach, and she got lost somewhere within the city itself. Last thing we know is that she went somewhere near the big tower.
Well, aren't you lucky, guard captain, because that is right where we are going to head? So one of yours has been lost. What's her name? And what does she look like?
She's a human fighter who's been with us for quite some while. She's called Pauline.
Pauline. What does she look like?
She wears the same kind of armor as we are, only in human shape, and it's a very definitive kind of style that the dwarves wear over here.
Mhm.
Also has here and there the same kind of markings on the armor as you have on a divining rod.
Oh,
God, Captain, our task today is going to be quite dangerous already. And finding a potentially wounded soldier and returning them home safe and sound is an added level of difficulty.
He
I
wants
am
money
not-
if you want him to stop talking.
I
Again,
hide my laughter behind.
again, you being adventurous, we would obviously have some kind of reward in store for you for this.
It's very gracious of you. I am sure we can come to an arrangement where it will be most satisfactory for all of us.
I'm sure we should be able to. My first concern, however, is my people.
Of course.
So, Pauline, is she taller than I am?
She's about the same size.
Oh, she's pretty small then. Very good. What is her favorite weapon?
She's a excellent fighter with a shield and a sword.
So it's unlikely that she will search for a sniper post and hide up somewhere on top.
We don't know what happened to her. The scouting party that she was with got attacked by a group of veggie pygmies,
Alright.
and they scattered to spread them. However, Pauline did not show up on the rendezvous point.
How's okay? What's her color of hair? The same as the people in Orzakan? Dark?
Yes, she is.
Very good. We will look out for your scout. But from all that you've told me, I hope you will understand that while we will do our utmost to find her, we have goals of our own that we cannot endanger. So, and it is a dangerous place from what you told us. So,
It very much is so, but I hope you as adventurers at least try your best to find her.
we will try.
That is all I ask.
Mhm.
We know how much risk this place is,
Mm,
how dangerous it is.
indeed.
Meanwhile, Sadak points a few of the drawers towards you guys, and you all get a small little pack. And if you open it, you see it's filled with some rations and water skins filled with water.
Well then,
So
This
you
is
can add that to your
appreciated.
backpack.
thank you.
It should be at least a few days worth. So
Dwarvish rations? I'm surprised if this will not last us over a week.
well, this is usually for a day or two for us. I think you could stretch it a bit.
Indeed. Human and elven fortitude is never the equal of the dwarf.
Of course
Speak
not.
for yourself, Lorenzo. I say. Stop this idle talk now. Let's go. Time is wasted.
All right.
See?
Still,
He smiles at the guard captain before they leave. You see, she is easily motivated when you provide the right words.
so still under the
I'm
guise of
only
darkness.
thinking of you. Remember, sorry. You don't have my lifespan. If we stand here much longer, you will get old. And
But at least I
hungry
will
and
get
drowsy.
paid.
So yeah, Sadak also beckons you over. We must make some haste if we want to still get in before light.
Well, then let's go.
So he brings you towards the land tongue itself, and as a group, you manage to, under the guise of darkness, still you see in the In the on the horizon, you already see a little bit of light coming up from the sun that should be out soon. But under the guise of the darkness, still you're able to make your way. This land tongue seems to be a sort of a paved road. Only the road itself has been bricks have been taken out, like big blocks have been taken out or are scattered, or like big impacts have been going around here. Like there's been some combat going on the land bridge itself as well. You cross the bridge itself, and as soon as you enter the city itself, you notice that there's a amount of big giant pillars standing around the edges of the city. Between it, you see a sort of a yellowish shimmer appearing sometimes, and you think that this might be some sort of a field around the entire city, maybe. And as soon as you enter the city, approach the city itself, Sadek tells you to stop, moves forward, takes a crystal out of his backpack, and puts it towards and against one of these pillars that's just standing to the side of the road. And in front of you, this yellow shimmer just disappears. I think it's safe to enter right now. Let's go.
What else do you have in your bag of tree?
Whatever I need for my and my sister's survival, of course.
Lorenzo gives an appreciative smile at that and leaves it alone.
He also gives it like a little bit of a cocky smile back, so yeah. So yeah, you enter the first parts of the outer edges of the city. This is also the part where there is still more buildings. Here is more ruined than exploded. And Sadek says, these areas are mostly explored. The areas a little bit further on, closer to the origination point, or where we need to make certain we are careful. However, there is also where I leave you.
Understood. I would like to point out that this morning I did not dress as flashy as the day before.
Mm-hmm.
I'm in the same outfit I wore when we vanquished the bandits. So
I guess you left your clothes behind in the. You don't bring them along with you, right? You just left your fancy clothes back in the fortress.
yeah, I mean I only have to roll, step it in right, and turn the cloak around, so it
Yeah.
would not take much space up in my backpack.
Yeah,
I
sure.
mean,
Yeah. So Ali is again in her more stalkery ranger look at the moment. So she also her entire posture's changed, and her way of movements entirely changed to what you are used to when she is her happy self, so to say.
Yeah, I also wrapped a scarf around the lower part of my face, and a hood is pulled up, so you can basically only see this part of her face as she sneaks on the balls of her feet.
All right. So yeah, you enter the city itself, and you see a lot of ruins here. Also, what you see is inside a lot of these ruined buildings, especially now that the sun is coming up. The same reflection that you saw before from the distance of the beach itself is not entirely that obvious over here. It's just a shimmer coming from the air around you itself, almost. A few of the buildings seem to be also totally covered in what seems to be mosses. Other ones are covered entirely by different kinds of mushrooms. Others seem to be oozing some really weird gray or blue or black or green or yellow substance. You don't know really what it is. And just the smell of the air itself is almost if you can compare it to the smell of ozone after a thunderstorm, is almost a smell of ozone, like a smell of magic and force in the air itself.
Can you smell that, guys? I say, I'm really glad I wore that scarf.
Also, Aliria, with your planeswalker stuff, you feel these kind of portals or schisms just shooting in and out of existence, like all around you. There's at least like uh, 10 or 15 of these up at all times, only at different places at different moments in time. Some are open for like half a second, some are open for longer. It's like a chaotic shift and jump of all these kinds of planar portals that seem to be going around.
I would like to mention that she's not being right in the middle of the group that is walking, but somewhere at the side, sneaking, and has her bow at the ready. And now and then she's turning around, drawing the bow, and then noticing the schism and it disappearing. And then she's super on high alert, like a cat during a thunderstorm. Every time she feels something, she's like taking it, in target basically.
All right. You move further through the smaller streets and parts of the city, and you talking about the areas that you wanted to go to. Don't really bother with the direct areas that you go past right now. Also, Sadek and Neki seem to be the dwarves are not with you, but Sadek and Neki seem to be also consciously moving you not over the main roads and main areas of the old city itself, but even sometimes you have to climb through a window to go up a building to then cross to another building to go down the stairs there to exit to the front there, which is basically a 5-foot walk. You also see sometimes like even small critters walking around, like what you think are even like roaches and other kinds of small insects. Some of the areas that you move around, you see these insects moving into and just disappear. And also you notice that some of these areas, Illyria, are actually schisms that you can't even see. Some you see like this weird shimmer or actually crack in the air itself, and these areas you don't even see. So you know that these guys are probably consciously moving you around these parts. After about 3 or 4 hours, you have the feeling like you only crossed the city about maybe half a mile into it. But it's taking you quite a while to get here. Sadek turns to you, gives you a little bit of a nod, and then hands you, Illyria, another of these crystals that he's used at the edge of the city, to open the shielding or what. Yeah. This is where we leave you. Through here, enter this building, and there's a building that's almost a big building, like a guardhouse maybe, that you would have to get through. We recommend you not going to the sides of it, because heavy pieces of magic protection from all are still in place. Some of these areas in this city used to be protected for access, as we have understood, for people of lower schooling still. Some of these older shields and protections are still in place.
What do you mean not go to the side?
Do not go past it. There's as we know, a shielding going along this inner circle where you're headed into.
Okay.
And yeah, he hands you one of these crystals as well, and then gives you a nod. I do sincerely hope you will able to make your way back with Pauline if possible.
I hope so as well.
And then, Sadek and Neki both give you a nod, look at you expectantly for maybe a last question.
Which is the fastest way to tower and the origination point?
You look and you just see the tower towering there.
Okay.
And the origination point, he says, I think the origination point is clear from the fact that it's the only standing building amongst the biggest of rubble in the city.
Anything else we should know as we approach them?
Be careful.
How do we find our way back through the mess of portals, schisms that you have guided us so graciously through?
this would be even a challenge for you. However, we do not have the resources at this point to keep someone waiting for you here. What we could offer is maybe in 3 days' time we would meet again. We would do
I
our
would very
best.
much appreciate this. Yeah.
We would do our best to get someone on this location for you.
Mm-hmm.
Lorenzo offers a nod. And by the time they come to leave, he'll offer a smile to both and a cocky two-fingered salute.
The only thing you see is like a slithering, forked tongue coming out of their mouths. Also, you see a little bit more of a respectful nod coming from Neki as well. But you just had a silent. There was like a both felt at the correct spot at the correct time at the moment, just doing your own thing for the entire day. So yeah, it was a respectful coexistence, you know.
Yeah,
And yeah, you feel the same coming from the nod that she gives.
fair enough. So who gets the pleasure of going first?
Well, it depends on how secretive and sneaky you want to be. If you don't mind announcing our presence, I can lead the way. If
You're basically standing in front of a big guardhouse now that they told you to get through to get to the inner circle, as they called it, towards the origination point. So you'd have to go into the building itself.
I definitely would like to stay a bit closer together than we did last time. We snook around to the bandit camp because it took.
It worked so well, he says with a very sarcastic smile.
Let's improve our technique. So, what do you say? Would you like to go first, or should I?
Lorenzo steps up to the door, puts a hand on it, pushes it open, and begins to move into the building.
Yeah,
Wait a second, and I hold up the
this is
crystal.
actually a as soon as you push the door, it seems to be starting to rotate.
In the sense of a revolving door or the whole wall or what?
It's a revolving door.
Okay. He'll shoot a look back at the others and say, "You coming?"
Yes, right behind you.
of course,
I would suggest if this is this a segmented door?
Yes.
I would suggest we stay within the same segment.
You wouldn't fit.
I would like to also keep an eye out for those schisms opening with my newfound senses, so I can warn the others.
Yeah, sure. If
I
there's
also
something coming
tell
up,
you-
I'll warn you about it. Besides, you notice them continuously, but as soon as something
Yeah.
would happen close to you or dangerous enough close to you, I'll let you know.
I can feel the instability here. I don't know if you've noticed them, but there are portals opening constantly. I will try to warn you if something close by happens.
So yeah, you all enter through the revolving door and enter what seems to be a big hallway, and along almost half of it, you'll suddenly see a big, what you think might be glass blockage, and in the middle of it is a sort of a doorway that leads into sort of a tube also made of this glass. In front of it are what seems to be all kinds of different devices that might be Paisat originated, all strewn about in this room. What seems to be sort of little. Imagine going to the entrance of a amusement park and having these rotating gates, these things that are made of three iron bars that just rotate around when you walk through them. You'll see those kind of gates.
Right. Lorenzo will be looking
What?
around the building and quietly whisper to the other two, "This is Very strange place.
The whole hallway is also built with giant marble out of black and white marble pillars. The floor itself is what seems to be made of marble itself, also in fine condition. Most of the machinery and stuff in here seems to be broken or at least wrecked by some sign of by something. Probably maybe by again some fights that might have happened here or some elemental magics that might have occurred here. But yeah, you still see this big barrier with the doorway into a hallway.
Can I roll perception to see if I recognize any signs of movement within the recent time
Sure.
period, shall we say?
Sure.
Right. 12.
You don't see any movement besides maybe a little bit of shimmer here and there, mostly outside. In this building itself, it seems to be. Also, you, Illyria, you notice that in the building itself here, you don't really feel any of these portals themselves, especially near the area that has this barrier and this hallway through it.
Is there any signs as though anyone's moved through recently or anything like that?
There's rubble and dust all strewn about the floor. You can still see the flooring below it. That's still like in good condition, but does not seem to be like anything that indicates that someone came by here like in the last day maybe. You do see here and there some water skins and rest of rations laying about, like maybe some of the patrols that might have come past here, but nothing really recent.
This is strange, I say, and I put on the bow for a moment, looking around, as if listening. On the outside, I could feel the restlessness of the plains, those schisms opening and closing constantly. But in here, there's an eerie quiet.
This area, it's a ghost town, both literally and in some ways figuratively. Expect strange.
Oh. And she puts the bow up again. All right. First methods, now ghosts. Fantastic.
So,
Not.
if you guys want to go forward, you need to go through these, through or over these little fences, these entryways, like almost security gates.
They're not high, right? They're
No.
just slow things.
They're like to your belly button high, maybe.
Yeah. I would take a few steps and then just push my one hand up and swing over. Not really
Sure.
going through, just
No
doing
problem.
the swinging over.
You jump over fine. You're on the other side.
Yeah, Lorenzo vaults it as well.
Yeah, Barrage just walks through the portal to the gateway. Nothing happens.
Yeah, I just walk through it.
And Xander and Brontes follow.
Spoil sports, I say.
And
I make up for it in some other ways. But one second, and he kind of breathes into himself, and I cast Pass Without Trace.
Okay. Sure. And as you do that, you also walk forward and do this almost glass hallway, which seems to be weird. You enter this hallway, as suddenly, Illyria, you feel the divining rod on your waist starting to vibrate and shake.
Oh. Whoa.
Behind you, something seems to be sliding down, closing the hallway, the glass hallway, the glass what's it called? The passageway off in the back.
Yeah. Hello?
You also see in front of you, you see another piece of glass coming up. As some of the machinery behind and around and on the back of the glass seems to be coming into motion. Um, Out of one of the walls, a hole opens up, through which what seems to be another Paisat crafted piece of machinery seems to be flying, which then comes to the side of the hallway that you're in, locked up at this point. The hallway opens up on the side, and this machinery enters, and the hallway closes again. It enters the middle of the hallway in the center up top, where you're all standing, being totally confused by whatever is going on. And suddenly a few things spring out, and a red light seems to be going across each and every one of you. Almost in a sci-fi series, like something is being scanned.
Lorenzo will attempt to move out of the light if at all possible. He'll take a sidestep or something.
You'll take a sidestep against the glass wall, and there's no way to really go. After a few seconds, you hear some buzzing and a voice around you. Oh dear, I think we have found new applicants. One moment, please. A few seconds later, this piece of machinery that just entered this hallway exits again through a opening that appears, and the opening closes again. And from the floor itself, a few openings open up below each and every one of you, springing a sort of this is about a foot, right?
Thereabouts.
Yeah, about a foot long piece of machinery that flings up and attaches to your wrist. As you look,
wrist?
each and every one of your wrists.
Okay. Can I dodge it somehow?
It just flings up and attaches itself to your wrist. You look at it. You look at it, and you see that it attaches on one side of your underarm, and a piece of machinery just comes out along the other side and attaches to itself, and even seems to embed itself into your skin and your veins and your bones.
Hey, I have not given my consent to this, I say, and try to remove it.
If you pull on it, you just pull on your skin itself.
Oh.
First thing you all notice is that on the top side of it, there's seems to be a arrangement of 4 crystals of 4 different colors in it. There's a red one, there's a green one, there's a blue one, and there's a yellow one.
Would an insight check help me determine the nature of this?
This is Paisat make. This is definitely something that's made by the small folk, probably in combination with some wizards or something like that.
Does this look like something that's on a divining rod? What's on the arm now?
This looks exactly like the kind of technology that seems to be coming from the divining rod itself.
I pull the divining rod out, hold it beside the thing on my arm, compare them and say,
cool. As you do that, out of this thing, it seems to have it's almost like a leather strap attached to your arm, combined with some metallic pieces. On top has the 4 little gems in it, and in the front of it there's a sort of maybe a little bit of a glass plate almost, or a crystal plate. This crystal plate lights up, and the same kind of red light that you saw before comes out and goes across and over this divining rod. And in your head, each and every one of you hears, Oh, I see. Yes. Hello, everybody. Thanks for joining me. I see you're new applicants, right? Hi, my name is Archibald. How can I help you today?
I know it's not going to make any difference, but Lorenzo is either picking at this thing with his dagger, trying to get it off, or even using his thieves' tools to do the same thing.
There's no entry holes to put your thieves' tools in, really. And if you want to put your dagger under something, it's the only way to do that is actually to poke into your own skin and try to cut it out. And you think if you want to cut it out, you're gonna have to cut your arm off.
Yeah.
They seem to
That's
be
correct.
well
So I know he wouldn't
attached.
do anything. It's just for flavour. That he's attempting everything he can to get this off.
I imagine that, but you are almost not really panicking, but it's in some distress trying to get this thing off, but it doesn't seem to get off.
Archibald? Who
Uh,
are
y- y-
you?
Sorry, what? What is it?
Who are you?
One sec. My name is Artificial Robotic Confidential Helper and Intelligence Battle Assassination and Logic Troubleshooter. Archibald. You can call me Archie.
There's many another choice word I would like to call you.
Okay, what are you? How do you talk to our minds? In our heads?
The device currently attached to your arm is what you could say my housing. Is what keeps me close to you and also being able to talk to you in a way that other people cannot. If you also notice, you are able to talk to each other.
Quick question. Have you access to a dictionary?
Dictionary. Looking up. Yes, I have access to a dictionary.
Be so kind and look up the word consent. Very
Consent.
important to ask for first before you put strange devices on strangers.
Oh, I'm deeply sorry. You had this thing with you. I assumed you were part of the new applicants here. I haven't had a few applicants in a long while.
You know what the humans say about the word assume, right?
Humans? No? Please explain.
Assuming things means that you make an ass out of you and me.
I beg your pardon, my dear, but I thought you were new applicants. There hasn't been new applicants in a long while, and you bringing this over here certainly made me think that you're. Who else would bring this over here?
What do you
No
mean?
no sense crying over spilled milk. How do we
I am
get?
not crying. I'm angry.
I is saying. I'm just saying. This thing is clearly stuck. This voice is with us regardless. We may as well use it to get where we need to go.
Suddenly you hear this entirety of this conversation you had. This red light has still been going across the dividing rod, and you'll suddenly hear scan complete. I have now incorporated the dividing rod into my mechanics.
How do I remove this?
I beg your pardon.
You. How do I get you out of my head? What is the fastest and most experienced way to remove this?
Removal of device is possible by amputation.
And the alternative?
Looking up. Looking up. Looking up. Looking up. No entries found.
I'm beginning to think amputation is not so bad an idea.
I'm not a fan of this thing on my arm. But if we dally here too long, who knows what might appear.
Yes.
As annoying as it is, it might even be a useful tool for navigating these ruins.
Indeed. Applicants? What do you mean with applicants? I thought instead moving towards the way where we were going, right?
I imagine you are here to be applicants for the program. Exploration program, of course.
Exploration program?
I am here in your service. For any exploration services, battle, assassination, logic, intelligence. That's what I am here for.
I'm going to regret asking this, but how do you perform assassinations?
Well, my excellent mechanics are well incorporated to assist my users into doing and optimizing performing to their topmost in combat. This is one of my
I don't
goals.
think Archibald doesn't assassinate. He helps you do it. Assassination logic.
Assumption correct.
Can you
That's-
help me shoot better?
Assumption correct. I analyze and acknowledge your positives and negatives in combat, and I will reinforce and help you perform better.
Do me a favor. Don't.
Huh.
We're spending time here that we don't have. Let's move on.
Is there anything I can assist you with?
The tower there, and I point at it.
Oh yes, the lighthouse, of
way.
course.
The lighthouse.
Guide us.
Yes, of course. Just straight away, please. And you instantly see that the wall in front of you opens up. The wall behind you opens up as well. And you manage to get through, and you're basically on the other side of the big barrier right now. And you see more of this marble flooring and these pillars on the big giant pillars, like it's really a fancy building, fancy guardhouse of sorts. And you exit on the other side. As soon as you exit on the other side, you also notice that there's a sort of a change in the scenery. Whereas first what you encountered was more ruins than anything else. Here is more rubble and less passable roadways. So you would have to probably find a proper way through some rubble over and under wrecked buildings and other sorts. You also see that the tower itself is at about maybe what is it, 800-900 feet from you.
Did we lose you?
Hello? Tina?
Yeah,
Oh, there you are. Okay.
I'm here.
So yeah,
Listening.
you exit on the other side and now are amongst what mostly seems to be rubble. You also see in the distance is a building that seems to be still standing amongst the rubble. But that's even further along the way.
Okay. Can you feel? Do you, Archie?
Yes, my dear. How can I help? Always ready to assist.
You, could you feel us enter that floor, that hallway?
I had my scanners go off. I then detected that you were in possession of this divining rod, therefore me assuming you were part of the new recruits.
Can you feel others such as us, possible applicants?
Scanning.
Close
One
by?
moment, please.
Haha! I look triumphant at Lorenzo and Varric.
Like I said, annoying but seemingly useful tool.
No,
I'm glad you to understand what it is he means by scanning.
After a
it
few
looks around, right?
scan complete. I must apologize deeply. However, there were no further applicants or researchers or explorers found. This is strange, however. There's not been a long time where I have not been able to connect to people. I have been locked up for quite a while, though.
Well, there's no other potential applicants, but is there any other creatures here?
One moment, scanning. And out of your arm again, Barek, this time your arm, you see the same light going across the direct and local area you're around. No threats found in direct area.
Thank you. Shall we continue on?
Yes.
So-
Are we rolling stealth checks here? Or sorry.
No, I think this actually would be a excellent moment to call the stream for the night.
Mm-hmm.
You just entering the inner circle of the Dread Isle, with the tower open, the building where it all originated from open, and a lot of knowledge to be gained. A quest to find Pauline, and a
Mhm.
strange device attached to your arms. So,
I'm just very glad that the red light, I had this Resident Evil vibe, and I thought, okay, there's going to come a power grid and make us all into shkebab in this stupid hallway. So yeah, so that not happening. And when we are done, we go to Optimus to whatever the city is called of the face set, and we have to have a few harsh words. Whoever build it.
so
Gotta go all the way to the Pataset capital.
for everybody at home, thanks for watching. For my players, thanks for being here. Thanks for playing with me. Love the game again. So we on Fumbles and Fame will be back tomorrow with Curse of Strat.
Yes.
Yeah, at 6 p.m. UTC.
No, we're starting at 3 p.m. UTC.
Okay.
So
Earlier
5
stream than
p.m.
usual.
Yeah, we're earlier than usual.
Okay. Then Monday we have Tales from the Beyond Portal. Tuesday, if all is well, depending on how our holidays go, we might have DDO again. Just on holidays for that. Next way, Saturday, we have Out of the Abyss. And then Sunday, Tour of Annihilation. So be sure to tune in. Be sure to join the Discord if you haven't already. Thanks for watching. Before we go away, everybody just have a small little go around. Again, who are you? Where are you from? What do you do besides Fumbles and Fame? And what's your favorite moment for the night? This time it's Tina first.
Okay. Hey everyone, I'm Tahina. I'm from Germany. You can find me on Twitter at Tahina_Andale. And if I'm not rolling dice here, then you can find me over at Scraticus's channel, where I am a permanent cast member for the Wizards and Wardrobes campaign. Next Tuesday, if the DDO stream does not happen, you can jump over. It's the second to last episode, and it's going to be epic. Just saying.
All right. Then Sam or Justin, whoever wants first.
I'm
by the way, Tahina, for a favorite moment. Sorry.
Sorry, I had lost connection for a moment. Discord was just... Okay. Favorite moment? I think, even though I got the Resident Evil vibes, I really like the hallway scene. So, yeah.
Okay. So yeah, Justin or Sam.
Well, I'm Justin, and I am the Twitter manager at Magehand Press. You can find me tweeting about our Kickstarter and various other things at Magehand Press. And that's what I'm doing when I'm not rolling dice. I'm there. I'm talking to people. I'm popping in Discord chats and just trying to be a friendly, positive member of the community. And then my favorite moment, oh gosh, this was just a really entertaining episode. Though I really enjoyed his companion's reactions to his new awakened powers, and just having a chance for everyone to kind of show what they've learned over the course of this adventure, and their coming, I don't want to say coming of age, because it's not like they're hitting puberty and like adulthood or whatever, but kind of that like moment.
All right. And then last but not least, Sam.
Yeah, unlike everybody else, I don't do social media, so you'll not find me on Twitter. You'll generally find me in the Fumbles and Fame Discord. I'm usually running one-shots and playing in games. If you are interested in getting involved in one of these streams or just playing some D&D, I've seen a few people in chat tonight that haven't done it for some time. I'm usually very open to one-shots with new players to get you into the feel of things. More than welcome to come and send me a message, and we'll set something up in the future, no doubt. But yeah, I'm partaking in that. I'll be in Curse of Strahd tomorrow, which I'm very much looking forward to. And you'll see me throughout other streams on this channel as well. I get about. As for favourite moments for tonight, I personally liked the descriptive scene with the two UNT and the beach and the sunset and all that kind of thing. Conjured up some nice imagery.
All right. So, for you viewers at home, thanks again for watching. Be sure to tune in for the rest of us. Be sure to get in on the Dark Matter giveaway as well. So if you're not sure about how to get that, just tune into the Discord and ask about it. We should be
Yeah,
fine.
we've got prize giving to go away to go with the guys at Mage Press. They've got a Kickstarter going on for a project called Dark Matter. If you want to find out more about it, again, as Ken says, it's on the Discord server. If you're interested, do send me a message and we can talk about it. And if not, keep an eye out for more of an explanation on the Curse of Strahd stream tomorrow, where we'll explain a bit more. Guys that are just
Alright, so for now, the only thing I can say is for everybody at home, claim your own fame. Bye bye.
Claim your own fame.
Cheers.
Bye.